Hi guys, this is your TK again. In this video, we're gonna see how to create AWS SageMaker Studio and also create a machine learning algorithm using SageMaker Autopilot. So let's get started. So let me enter the SageMaker service, and you need to create your own domain. For this, you can click on the create domain. So here you can do a quick setup or you can go with the standard setup. So I'm gonna go with the quick setup. So here I'm gonna give the domain name like demo, and what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna choose the execution role over here. If you want to create a new role, you can click on the create a new role and create a new role. Since I'm going with the existing role, I'm gonna select this particular user role and I'm gonna click on submit. Here you can see the domain demo has been created. Now let me click on this one. Okay, so now what we need to do is like we need to create a SageMaker Studio. For this, you can click on the studio on the left hand side and you can choose the domain which you want. Since I'm going with the demo and I'm gonna click on Open Studio. So if you're opening it for the first time, it will take a couple of minutes to get loaded. So we need to wait for some time for here. Now my SageMaker Studio is up and running. So what I'm gonna do is like I'm gonna click on this data and select this data Wrangler and I'm going to do import data. So yeah, let us wait for some time. Import data, basically what it does is like it helps you to load the data from the different AWS storage services. Okay, so you can see, right, it helps you to load from S3, Athena, Redshift, Snowflake, Databricks, and EMR. So I'm going to select with an S3. Already I have created a bucket and I have kept the data over there. So you can see test for SageMaker is my bucket and I'm going to double click it. And train.csv is the CSV file which I'm going to use for my training. This is the Titanic CSV file which I downloaded from the Cackle site. Okay, then you need to click on this import. Yeah, so it will take again some amount of time. Yeah, you can see, right, all the data has been imported. Since it is CSV, it has been imported with the good shape. So next what you can do is like you can click on this analysis. So analysis is kind of a data visualization tool which SageMaker Studio provides you. Like let me show you a demo. So I'm gonna draw a histogram. You can use some name for it if you are interested, like hist whatever as per my wish. And I'm gonna draw a histogram between okay, gender and there should be something like survival over there. Yeah, survived rate. So okay, so I'm gonna click on run. You can see, right, based upon the gender and the surveyed rate, it is giving me some histogram. So it's this kind of a visualization you can do on top of this. So also it provides you some kind of a duplicate row checks, bias reporting, custom visualization, other options. I recommend you to explore those kind of options. Now let me jump into the training. So when you click on this training, if you are a beginner to machine learning and you have no idea about what is this machine learning model is doing, you can just simply click on this export and train. Again, it is saying it will take at least a minute. Okay, it came a bit quick. So here you can come down and you can see, okay, everything looks good. So this is my input data path and this is where my output is gonna get returned. So you can see, right, so all my details SageMaker is going to capture in this particular path. If you want to change it, you can change it, else you can keep it as it is. Okay, everything looks good. Next, let me click on the next. Yeah, here you need to select what all your input features. So default everything has been taken, 12 out of 12 column has been taken as my input features. So here I'm gonna predict survival, like whether the person has survived or not in the Titanic crash by other input parameters. So now what I'm going to do is like target column. So now if I select survived in the target columns, it will get disappeared from the input columns. So before it was 12 out of 12, now it is 11 out of 12 because survived is my target column. So next what I'm going to do is like click on the next one, and if you don't know anything about it, you can let SageMaker do its own job. You can click on this auto, else if you do know something, you can click on this ensemble or hyperparameter optimization. Now I'm going to simply click on this auto and I'm going to click on next, and let me see. Yeah, this is the endpoint. Endpoint is nothing but what all aggregations or what all things which has been found by the SageMaker. It's gonna capture in some particular S3 path, and also the model which is going to build. It's gonna capture this model dot trained file in this particular path. Actually, this is the name of the endpoint. So basically, it creates an endpoint with the DDMY format, and advanced setting like if you want anything like runtime, like maximum runtime, minimum runtime, and access, what is the IAM role you want. If you have any encryption key, security, or projects, you can mention it over here, since I'm not bothered about anything. And I'm going to click on this machine learning problem type. So binary classification, so this is a classification problem. If you know what kind of problem you are dealing with, you can go with this options. If you don't know anything, I'm just going to click on auto, and I'm going to click next and review. I'm just going to review all the parameters. It seems to be good, and I'm going to create experiment. Once you click on this create experiment, there will be an experiment which gets started with a particular ID, and it will start to run. So basically it will take a long time to run actually. So I have passed most of the time. So here you can see, right, it has done most of the work for me. Let me click on this open data exploration notebook. This is the default notebook which SageMaker is giving me. You can see here, right, it has taken my input data. It has done some kind of EDA, exploratory data analysis, and it is displaying everything for me. So this is the data sample which I gave it to it, and this is the summary. Like, it has given some prediction power for each and every variables. It says like fair has a strong prediction over the survival rate, then comes passenger class, name and gender, whatever it is, and it says there is no duplicate rows. Okay, well and good. And it says it has done some correlation matrix, and it explains me the things end to end, and also it gives you a brief summary about the data. So if you are a beginner and if you don't know what kind of EDA needs to be done, I think SageMaker Autopilot, I mean AutoML, it's kind of a good option for you. Okay, now let's me go to the next thing, like open candidate generator notebook. Let me click on this one. So basically what this notebook is doing is like it helps you with the end-to-end code, like what AutoML is doing over here. Basically it is syncing some of the AWS paths for me. So basically this is where all my endpoints, as I mentioned, all the data is getting captured in this particular endpoint for me, and it is importing all the like ML codes, SageMaker SDK, Python SDK, ML core. It is building a model for me, like it is setting all the configuration, it is importing all the ML, and it is creating a pipeline again. That's great. And let me see what kind of algorithm is using. Okay, it is using an XGBoost algorithm. Let me try to debug it. So this is using an M1 M5 4x large instance, and it is going to spin up a single instance, and this is using 50 GB of volume. Okay, my bad. It's a huge volume. I think you need to pay a lot for the AWS if you use an AutoML. Okay, so this gives an overview of what is a kind of like service and what is a kind of model it is building. And what it is doing is like, again, okay, it has some kind of hyperparameter tuning concepts. Like, it is doing a k-fold, and it is doing num-cv rounds 3. Okay, let me try to check where best deploying best. You can see here, right, deploying best pipeline. So basically it does different hyperparameter tuning, and it comes up with the best model, and it is trying to deploy in this particular endpoint over here. Okay, now let me go here. So this experiment is taking lot of time to run, guys. I think it's more than 30 minutes and is still running over here. Okay, so it has been completed. So what you can do with this, so imagine like you are a new beginner, and if you want to compare all these experiments, so there is a tab like experiments over here. You can click on this one, and you can go to your particular ID. Since 748 is my new experiment ID, I'm going to click on this one. Then what I'm going to do is like it has done almost 100 plus experiments for the single AutoML job. I'm going to select some of the experiments which I'm interested, which is in the top 4, and I'm going to click on this analyze. So what this analyze is going to do is like it's going to give a full stats of each and every experiment. Let me try to show you something. So this is the validate accuracy and validation recall, validation accuracy, validation F1 score, and yeah, SageMaker instance which has used, and SageMaker volume and k-fold. So alpha value, so basically it is giving you all the hyperparameters tuning which has been used, and what all the metrics like it has done actually. Yeah, finally my training has been completed and it says the algorithm used is XGBoost. If I click on view more details, okay, it is showing the details like what all EDA it has done, which we saw in the notebook, and it is showing the metrics. Okay, okay, it's all the hyperparameter tunings which has been used by the model. Okay, bias matrix technical paper. Okay, it is giving some documentation also over there. Future importance. Okay, it's giving future importance metrics, hyperparameters, and resources. Well and good. What I can do is like, okay, I can even share my model and I can even deploy my model. I think I don't have the IIM role for this, and it shows the best model out of it. So it has an FN score of 0.778 and it has an accuracy of this one. It has been completed. Yeah, that's it with today's demo, guys. Thanks for watching the video and happy learning.